Hi, beautiful souls. Another glorious day to be in these amazing physical human bodies on this beautiful, magnificent planet. Darling Gaia, our beautiful home right now. Whilst it's always exciting to explore other realms and different dimensions, we must also remember and honor our human bodies right now that gives us opportunity to experience life here on this planet and to do good whilst we're here, if we so choose. Difficult word to say the word good, because when we say the word good, it means that there is a word bad, because there's a polar to good. And when we're unifying, which is what we are all doing, we look for ways not to say good or bad, right or wrong, because everything is perfect just as it is, and everything offers opportunity to expand and to grow, and everything is a blessing when we see life that way. So I use the word good because it's an easier way to talk, but I will probably filter that word out when I can feel into the words that are calling me to be used instead, to be expressed instead. I want to share some light on walking. I was just walking along through the field with Lanto, Lightfoot, and yesterday a friend of mine mentioned, "Oh, Lanto is a lord," and I said, "Indeed he is. He is a lord." So I named Lanto after Lord Lanto, who's an ascended master, and a truly wonderful ascended master who underwent some real challenges in order to ascend, which is not necessary. We don't have to do that, but he obviously had to in order to awaken. Of course, he didn't have to do anything. Nobody has to do anything, but that's how he was called into his ascension. That was his path, which made him very, very transparent and very sensitive to feel. Now, my dog is very much like that, and I called him Lightfoot because when he walks, he tends to levitate above the ground. He looks like he's levitating. So I want to get to walking. I want to talk about walking. Often we talk about grounding, and grounding being so that we are so solid on the ground that we really do feel like we have merged with the earth. I think anybody that is aware of the grounding practices will know that feeling, like when you put your roots down, how solid you feel on the earth and how strong it feels. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's a beautiful practice, and it's a very powerful practice. It's a very powerful one. But I also want to mention another practice, which is levitation. And levitation is, it's something that a lot of people don't believe is possible because of gravity. They think, no, that's not possible. Years ago, I experienced levitation, and I don't often talk about this because not a lot of people are ready to hear it, because it's not, they don't think that's possible, but it is possible. And then not such a long time ago, I also experienced another form of levitation, walking along here, where I felt the tree's roots literally lift me up off the ground like I was floating. So this is what I want to talk about, is that when you are walking in a float state, you have a different sensation that also helps you to access information that you wouldn't be able to if you were too grounded, or if you were too unconscious. So if you're too unconscious, you're never going to be able to access much. If you're just unconscious, you're never going to access anything. But if you are very grounded, there are certain things you might miss out on, because you're not going to experience this. You won't experience this lightness. It's a very different lightness of like when you're actually off in meditation. That's a different thing altogether. I'm talking about experiencing the lightness whilst you're in your physical form. And Why might you do it? Why might you do it? That is a question you can answer when you practice, because I don't know all the answers. Nobody knows all the answers, and there's always going to be new answers to everything, because we're always expanding, we're always growing, you know. That's the beauty of everything. There is no absolutes on anything. When people say, oh, this is the absolute date when this is going to happen and the whole earth will ascend, well, they don't know. Nobody knows, because timelines are always changing, and we are always going to be developing and expanding. So I just say that this is a really beautiful practice, because you feel very different. You know, you can walk with the earth and you can be grounded, and you can feel into the earth, and you can feel the soil, and you can feel the trees, and you can feel the earth moving through your body. But you can also practice levitation, and it's not always just levitating above the ground, actually physically levitating at the ground, because there's different types of levitation. But you can also practice this, and it's not, like I said, it's not meditation where you experience off into other world. This is actually fully conscious practice where you feel yourself walking above the ground, because you're not so grounded. And in this, you feel the ether in a very different way. You feel through the the layers of the air. You feel through to information that I can't verbalize this at the moment, because it's all energy, and it's an energy that is not translatable into human language right now. I could speak it in light language, but again, that's just not necessarily going to be easy for everyone to understand. But what I want to say is, when you practice this, okay, imagine, instead of like roots deep down in the ground, imagine instead you have silver platinum strands from your feet coming up from the ground. Beautiful silver platinum strands coming up from your feet, lifting you at least a foot above the ground, okay? And that you're above, and you're really tall, you're really long. Stretch yourself out to this. You really stretch yourself out, and you become as tall as a tree. And what do you want to see? What do you want to experience? What do you want to see above in your physical form? And then as you walk, feel the air beneath your feet. Feel your feet as soft and gentle and flowing. Walk along as if you are the wind. And as you do this and you practice this, you will find that as you float, as you become more floaty, you become a lot lighter, because you have to become lighter to do this practice. You have to be light. You can't be carrying thoughts in your head. It's the same as when you're swimming. When you're swimming in the sea, if you're carrying heavy stuff, your whole body becomes heavy. This is a practice that I encourage people, if they need to become lighter, if they are very dense and they need to practice their light, this is a really great light practice, is practicing levitation above the ground. And the more you do it, the lighter you become, and eventually you will be able to levitate. But just don't try too hard. That's where most people go wrong. They try too hard. I try too hard, and then they can't do it. And then they're like, oh, why can't I do it? And it's like, well, you know, just relax. Relax. It's like anything. When we get so cross with ourselves, we're not going to be able to do anything. And everything is so simple, my goodness. Like, we've all remembered that time when we couldn't ride a bicycle and we thought it was so tricky, and then we suddenly could, and it was like, oh my God, this is so easy. This is the same thing. It's really, really easy. Everything is easy. Everything is simple. Everything is simple. But this will really help to release that heaviness. And again, like if you're a sea swimmer, you know what it means to like have a heavy body and a light body. And in fact, if you're in a place where you can go in the sea and practice that, then you can also experience this without having to do this walk. But not everybody likes to sea swim. You know, it's all about releasing everything so that you become so light and that you lift yourself above the ground, that you experience being the air, that you are the air. And this is a different type of thing to just like a deep meditation. This This is a walking practice to practice your light, to practice holding your light, that you are the light. You practice your angelics in your human form. Lots of love to you all. Have a great, beautiful, joyful day. Love you.